Hi everyone, it's Lewis here, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm going to do a film review of a fairly newish film. I don't do many film reviews at the moment because of new films, at least, because there isn't that many. But we're well into Oscar season now, and I always enjoy it because I like a lot of the films that end up being nominated for awards and what have you. But it's all been a bit delayed this year for obvious reasons, and it's been a bit annoying because I like to watch them all before the actual Oscars themselves, and I won't be able to this year because some just aren't released over here until after. But they've started coming out now. I watched Minari the other day, which is a Korean film, which is a favourite, and I really enjoyed that. I didn't do a review of it, but that was a good film. And one of the other ones I was looking forward to was Sound of Metal, which is the film I'm going to talk about today. It just came out on Amazon Prime because it's a Amazon Studios movie, and it was at no extra cost in there as well, which is really nice because the others that have come out so far I've had to pay for a rental. And I was intrigued about this movie. I don't think I even saw a trailer or anything, but just the idea of it and the look of it really appealed to me. It stars Riz Ahmed, who is a British actor, and he's been nominated for an Oscar for it. I think he's the first Muslim actor to be nominated for lead actor, because Mahershala Ali has won supporting actor twice, and he's a Muslim as well, which is quite interesting. It's this year the awards are very much more varied than they normally are, which is very good. But it's mainly him in it really, and he's really come a long way. Like I think myself and probably a lot of people first saw him in Four Lions, which was Chris Morris' film from probably over 10 years ago now. I think that was about 2008, and he was very good in that, but that was when he was very young. And since then I've seen him in Nightcrawler, he was in Rogue One, the Star Wars movie, and he's been in a few other things, but he's really come along as a really good dramatic actor and really made a good name for himself. And it wouldn't surprise me if he won the award for this, because it's very, very good. But I'll get into it in a second. I won't go into sort of plot specifics, so I won't do any sort of spoilers or anything, but it's not really a film you can kind of spoil in a sense. Like, I could probably tell you what happens in the film, but you'd probably still have the same experience, because it's more about how it makes you feel, more so than what actually happens in it. It's basically the story about a heavy metal drummer who is a part of a double act with his girlfriend. She's the vocalist and guitarist, and he's the drums, and they're kind of a quite odd like act kind of thing. But it doesn't go into that too much. You only see little bits and pieces of that because that's not really what it's about. But he suddenly starts to lose his hearing, and it's just this is the story of him basically going deaf and just him dealing with that. And he goes to like a special sort of camp or school, what have you, for deaf people to come to terms with it. And he meets Paul. I'm not sure if his name's pronounced Racy or Rachy, but he's nominated for Best Supporting Actor as well. And he's the guy who runs like the school and the camp and that. And it's just about kind of him, the main character, coming to terms with these things. And Paul Rachy's been nominated as well. I'm going to go with that. I don't know if it's right, but I'm going to go with that. And sometimes you can just tell when something's going to be a really good performance, and the second he came on the screen, I was like, yeah, totally get this. This. I mean, for me, an award-winning performance isn't about being over dramatic, and people associate with big, loud, dramatic performances, but really, to me, it's just about how they embody that character, and this is the perfect example of that. It's a very understated performance, and it's the same with the lead, with Riz Ahmed as well. Actually, he plays a character called Ruben, I should say, which always makes me think of a sandwich. But yeah, and it is more about how he feels about his situation, how he's coming to terms with it, and that this is one film where I really wish I could have been able to see it at the cinema, which is every film, but the sound in this is quite incredible, which is appropriate because it's literally a film about sound, or the lack of. And it's a very, very immersive thing. Like, it kind of puts you in his perspective. Like, early on in the film, like when he meets other deaf people, when they're signing to each other, he doesn't know sign language yet, and the film doesn't give you any help as a viewer. It doesn't give you any subtitles at this point, and later on, as he develops his understanding of it, you get subtitles. So it kind of puts you in his shoes. Like, these people are all talking around him, but he has no idea what's going on. He's completely kind of isolated. But then later on, as he becomes more accustomed to it, you as the audience are kind of in his shoes. And like when he first starts losing his hearing and stuff, like the sound really changes, and it's like in a theatre with sort of immersive surround sound, that would be really something special. But in, you know, my room here with a small sound bar, it's not quite the same. But yeah, I think it is interesting. Like one of the themes of it is how this character sees losing his hearing as being like the end of his life, really. And like he is a musician, obviously that's very, very important. But one of the things they talk about in the community that he's part of, I should say, rather than school or anything like that, it's a deaf community, is that they talk about how it means it doesn't necessarily mean it's they don't look at it as a disability. It's just another way of living life. It's just a different lifestyle that they kind of become accustomed to. So it's a case of not looking at it as something you've lost, as something that's different, kind of thing. But yeah, like I say, I think it's one of those films that I like, and I've been thinking about it a lot because I watched it last night, and I think when I watch it a second time, I think I'm really going to like it. And I won't watch it a second time just yet. I'll probably give it maybe a few months or so, which I'm glad it's on Prime because I can watch it whenever now. And I think it's going to be one of those films where I watch and it all comes together a little bit more for me the second time around, because I think it's really good. I really like it. I don't know if it's going to be one of the big award winners. I think it's got a good chance. I think at the very least it will get like a sound award, and I think Paul Raci, whatever it is, will be, probably should look that up, but will be, I think he's got a good shot of winning Best Supporting Actor. But you know, it's not all about awards. It's a film that makes you think, and it makes you really kind of feel what this character's going through. And like I say, I feel like it's quite an immersive experience, and I feel like the second time around, when I've seen the whole of its components, I'll appreciate a bit more. But I would recommend it. I think it's really good. It's 2 hours long. It's on Amazon Prime, like in the UK at least. I'm sure it is in other places as well, so there's no extra cost if you've got Prime. And yeah, Riz Ahmed, also I will say about Riz Ahmed, perfect American accent. Say he's British, but his American accent is flawless, and I like it when actors can just do that. And but I think if it's something you want to sit down and really get into, I think it's worth the investment of the time, and it's really something that makes you think. But yeah, I think this is, of the films I've watched leading up to this Oscar season, I think this is probably my favourite so far, but then I haven't seen that many of them yet. So I think Promising Young Woman is out this week on Sky over here, which again is really good because I can watch that for no extra cost, which I'm glad, because some are very extortionate rental costs, as I always mention. But I'll probably do a review of that as well if I like it. But yeah, it's called Sound of Metal. I'd recommend it. Don't confuse it with The Sound of Music, because that's a very different film. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you've seen the film, or if you plan on seeing the film, please leave a comment and let me know. I don't expect many people to watch this video really, because it's a bit kind of obscure, but if you have, I do really appreciate it, and let me know. Please watch the film and see how you feel about it. But yeah, please leave a like, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.